Hello, and welcome to the Bald and the Beardiful. I'm Bryce.
I'm Seamus O'Toole.
He wishes.
Chris.
And I'm bald.
And I
Dumb.
am beautiful.
Anyway, it's been a while since we've done one of these. A lot's happened.
A lot of traveling, a lot of changes.
A lot of changes.
Not sex changes. I just want to, for our listeners, because they can't see us, you have not gone through the procedure. I'm just putting it out there.
Next week.
Not if we remain on quarantine, it won't.
Yeah, not if we remain on quarantine. No, biggest change is this is our first podcast together, like actually sitting together.
Well, attempting to do it live. So, special St. Patty's Day. We should probably mention it's St. Patty's Day. Go through the normal stuff. Jumping ahead of ourselves. I know it's been a while. You got to practice.
Yeah, although I am still rocking the green beard for St. Patrick's Day.
There you go.
You did nothing. You're wearing a green.
I wore green.
It's not even Kelly green. It's like a dark army green.
I mean, I wore it for work.
Stuff together.
It had to be work appropriate. My other green.
Work appropriate. You're working from home.
Yeah, but I have to be on video.
You don't have to wear a collar?
No.
I still have to wear a collar.
I mean, like, we're business casual for the most part. So typically I wear I either wear a polo or a button up. But work from home, like I've been wearing just like a polo and basketball shorts because nobody sees me from the waist down.
Chris, can you get up for a second? No. I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah, we had to actually put that in corporate mandate documents that you have to get dressed every day, wear pants because you're going to be on conference calls and things. Just ridiculous stuff that you wouldn't say. But anyway, so yes, lots of changes, lots of things. Quote unquote quarantine. You moved. I went on vacation. Sports got canceled during that time.
Yeah,
a lot of sports got canceled.
Does XFL stop? Or
yeah, I think they stopped too.
Not that I was keeping up with it. Anyway, even though I feel like I should, it is getting decently popular. I just haven't caught up with who the new team names. Was it like the Seattle Dragons or?
Yeah, you have the Seattle Dragons. You have the Dallas Renegades. You have the St. Louis Battlehawks. That's all I really remember. There's a few others.
I got no idea. I didn't look it up.
I honestly kept forgetting. I watched when I was in bars or restaurants that was playing. I was watching it, but I kept forgetting to look up the teams and the names and what was going on. I was also curious to see what kind of product they were going to put on the field. And it looks to be pretty good. The talent seems to be solid. The rules seem to be the minor rule changes they made seem to be for the better.
I mean, what happens when you put D-listed players or B-listed players against B-listed players? It still looks the same.
Yeah. I mean, what you say B-list, right? But I'm pretty sure Kurt Warner was playing in the Arena Football League or the Canadian Football League before going to the NFL.
Stuff that a lot of people know exist.
Yeah, before going to the NFL and winning, the Super Bowl, right? So you never know, right? I like the fact that they can go for 3. I think that's awesome.
Because one coach said he couldn't.
Basically, yeah. Right?
Yeah, because did they get rid of the field goal? Is that what I heard?
You can go for 1. You can kick a field goal. You can go for 2, basically with it. I think you start at the 5 or the 10 or whatever. And then if you go for 3, you start at the 20.
Yeah, I knew it was further back from the 2. I just wasn't sure if they just got rid of the field goal and made the 1 point closer than the 2 point, then the 3 point, or if they kept the field goal as 1.
Yeah, no, that's they kept that and added the extra element. They also made some changes to the kickoff, which I think are interesting, where you don't get a full run or a full clip.
Right.
So you basically almost start it's like an extended line of scrimmage. Seems a little bit safer, not such big hits, though. Well, it hasn't ruined things as far as that goes. But baseball canceled all spring training. Mm-hmm. Much to my disappointment. I had tickets to a spring training game over the weekend.
I actually was going to try to make that.
Yeah, which would have been good because it's, it was the Miller Lite flight deck, which is all you can eat and drink for the ticket price.
Oh, Son of a.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish I could have gone to that.
NBA postponed everything, or basically canceled the remainder of their season.
Could you imagine watching a sport on TV and just seeing the stands completely empty?
Well, we'll get there to that. Yeah, I think hockey was the last to follow. I'm still not, I mean, I guess the crowds for golf, I've never been to a golf event. I know like big things like waste management, like the waste management Phoenix Open out here is a big party and gets a lot of people. It's a week long, but it also coincides with like Barrett Jackson around that time too. So we had a ton of people in the area, and that brings out a really big crowd. I don't know anything about the crowds at PGA tours or other tournaments and things.
They can get pretty big. They have a decent amount of people following them.
True.
It's like going for a hike
with 300 of your closest friends.
Yes, exactly.
But I wouldn't. That being open air, I think would be. I would have thought that they would have continued that, right?
Yeah.
But I guess it's people in close proximity. Period. Right.
So let's all tell them to go home and stay with their close quartered families. Yeah, that still makes a lot of sense.
I mean, to a certain extent, it does. But and then was it? I think March Madness is still going, as far as I know, and I could be completely wrong because I haven't really been following it ever since they said that they were going to play in open air like facilities, right, with no fans. Like that sucks.
I don't know.
But they may have actually, now that I think about it, I think I may have heard that they actually decided just to forego March Madness altogether, which Vegas takes a huge hit in that one, right?
Well, stop the presses. Let's, God forbid Vegas takes a day off or a month off. How much money are they losing? I mean, probably a ton, but.
I'm sure with March Madness not going through and all the sports being canceled, hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. Guaranteed.
But I just can't see that making much of a dent in their like overall.
So let's I don't know as far as Vegas and what that's going to do as far as sports betting, what percentage of Vegas is like revenue comes from sports betting. But I do know that Macau in Southeast Asia, right? Macau is in a sovereign. They're not sovereign. They're an autonomous parish, basically. That's not the word I'm looking for, but I'm gonna go with it just because I can't think of anything better. Within China, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 3 times the size of Vegas. Does more revenue, and they had closed for 2 weeks to a month. I don't remember what the exact number was, right? And they will lose 15% of their annual revenue based on just like a month. Let's call it a month. I might be overstating it, but either way, 15% of their annual revenue by being closed for a month. Based on the time of year. It was also based on the time of year too, because it also coincided with the Lunar New Year, which is a big travel time for those in the Southeast Asian, continent. Mm-hmm. Culturally, there's a luck and fortune and gambling is a part of that. So that also plays into some of the bigger numbers that like how many people travel. Like it's a crap ton. I don't even remember the number. I just remember being really surprised how large it was. Mm-hmm. But that contributes to how much they lose. And it was in the hundreds of millions of dollars, basically.
And just to backstep a little bit, according to CBSSports.com, there will be no NCAA tournament in the 2020, and there will not be a tournament bracket either.
If there's no tournament, how would there be a tournament bracket?
That's what that was verbatim read. I read it. Like, it's there.
I digress. And this is all in response to the pandemic, where I'm seeing it commonly posted even in news outlets as a global pandemic, but by definition, pandemic means that it's global. It's kind of like when we call an ATM machine, it's automatic teller machine is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, you're just saying the same thing twice.
So yeah, by calling it a global pandemic, you're saying global basically twice, because an epidemic is localized. A pandemic spans multiple continents.
The more you know.
Yes.
I definitely
And
didn't
knowing
know
is
that.
half the battle. I've actually started using that in one of my segments when I present at work.
I can't tell if we're quoting the 80s or 90s. I'm guessing it's the 90s.
I believe it's the 90s.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I remember seeing it on TV. So I'm getting, and you know, I'm 91. So
yeah, I'm sure it was 90s. It could be a repeat though, or something that continued on from the 80s though, technically.
yeah, could have been.
But you know, uh, yeah. And well, speaking of work, my work has moved to mandatory work from home for at least a minimum of 2 weeks, probably extended due to current state of things and government announcements and things around limitations of gatherings, right?
So it's funny because mine did the same thing, but I get to go to work every day still. They told everyone else to go home but me.
I mean, I'd much rather go to the whoops. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Hold on. I'd much rather go to the office. I feel like I'd be more not necessarily more productive, but like it's just. I mean, I've worked from home like before, not necessarily in 100% capacity, but where I would work remote, um, maybe a couple days a week or whatever. It's just a different vibe. Like it's definitely.
I agree. I definitely feel like I catch up on my Netflix when I work from home.
I am not a horrible employee, unlike you.
The work gets done. What do you want?
But
no, I mean, with where I am right now, I mean, the big move is because of a big job change, and with where I am in my current job change, I'm doing a lot of, hey, I need you to show me how to do this. So if someone's not there that I need to talk to, it's a lot of Skype calls, a lot of, hey, like, how do you do this quick search? Like, I know it's something simple, but I still need you to come show me.
Sure, but personally, like, I'm glad that we're taking precautions. I'm glad that we have things in place, but at the same time, though, like, I think there's a lot of fear mongering going on. I think the media is really like pushing a lot of FUD. And those who don't know the acronym FUD, it stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And because it's all shock entertainment, right? It's for the shock value of it. News really isn't news anymore. It's entertainment. And it's all about, and that's.
I think Ron Burgundy changed that.
Yeah. But, take precaution. Like we said, we should be taking precautions. We should be doing the appropriate things. But a lot of like the mandatory closures of like bars and restaurants and in certain areas, it makes sense. I believe that there is kind of like a point of no return, if you will, of number of cases where that would definitely be mandatory, right? And would be required in order to limit this to quell the spread.
But on the other side of the coin, could you imagine owning a business and that's where your money comes from, and all of a sudden the government says you have to shut down. You can't have people in here because it's bad for them. Wait a second.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but here you go. Go to your local convenience store and pick up a pack, Johnny. As long as they're getting their tax dollars, right? But it's like really, I think I still say it's better to overreact than underreact, right? Underreacting could make this so much worse, right? But overreacting still has certain consequences that we need to realize. And so like
people who actually need toilet paper who are out of it and can't get it because now the shelves are empty and people are hoarding them.
Kind of, but like I can teach you how to
Could you imagine that episode of Hoarders? What's with all the toilet paper? Well, you just couldn't go return it.
Yeah. If you need to know how to make a hillbilly bidet, I got you covered.
Is that the one with the you hook up the nozzle from the sink to the outpost or the water intake from the toilet? You seen that one?
Yeah. So you take your valve off from the wall, and because it has one out valve basically and turns on and off, right? You can get one that has a multi-port basically, and you do it that way. And the dish sprayer, you use that, secure that. Just a little cold water,
or hop in, or just turn on the whole shower and just hop in real quick every time you use the bathroom.
Just make sure to sterilize your shower too. But listen, I think this is really
Honey, why is it pulsating?
But so we're affecting, like you said, with all the like concert venues shut down, tours, sporting events. Now we're hitting service. Retail, like big box retailers are starting to close down, right? Like Macy's and a few others have all announced that they're going to be closing stores or limiting store hours, that kind of stuff, which is kind of awful. Like, I mean, like I get it. Like you don't want people in a bunch of crowded places, and it takes a lot to operate those stores because they're big, right? And you can only have so many employees. But at the same time, like life still needs to go on, right? It's not the apocalypse.
People still have bills to pay. People still need to go to work. And even on the other side of it, like businesses still need to make a profit.
Yeah. So this doesn't hurt your Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. This hurts the small business economy, right?
They're living paycheck to paycheck still.
Yeah, that are paycheck even month to month.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm overstating it, but still.
So I think there should be measured response, right? Like that's fine. Like companies like mine who are more than capable of supporting a remote work staff, fine. Move us to remote. Continue with with business as usual. Limit our exposure to the outside world. Help limit the spread. But like we have. I mean, it's not. We announced that we're in Arizona and that we're in Phoenix, right? But the Phoenix mayor recently is following suit with California, basically, and declared a state of emergency, and is forcibly closing all bars and restaurants outside of to-go or drive-through, takeaway, that kind of stuff, right? And I might be quoting the numbers, because every day a new case could pop up or multiple cases could pop up. But the last number I saw as of within the last 48 hours was that in the entire state of Arizona, our case number was 12.
Just the number of cases, not even anything else. It's just how many people had it.
12.
Yeah.
We recently, like within the last week, got into double digits.
Can you imagine going to a bar and getting a beer to go?
Yes, I can. And I would like to live in that world. A Corona to go.
A Corona to go.
And and even in Vegas too, I've seen Vegas, like they're closing poker rooms because that's real close quarters and whatever. Like the table games and the slots are still open because they make more money off of those anyway, right? But they're starting to take precautions. But as I said, like measured response, right? So 12 cases in a small area, right? They're not cases throughout the state of Arizona. They're actually limited to let's call it Maricopa County, right? They're just in Maricopa County, and at this point, like we're not seeing the same case exposure rate, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it.
Because Arizona's hot as hell.
In summer, yeah, in some areas like California, right?
Right.
Seattle and other places. But you know what we do lead in during this crisis?
I want to say the number of ammo bought, but
no, outage or limitation of access to toilet paper. We lead. We have some of the lowest numbers as far as number of recorded cases, but we are the ones hoarding the most toilet paper.
Does this even give you diarrhea? Like, I don't even
know.
What is the point then?
That is not a symptom.
So who the heck said go buy all the toilet paper you can?
I don't know where it started from. Well, it all stemmed from, I don't remember which news outlet it was, but somebody did a whole like 14 you should have enough supplies for a 14-day quarantine, right?
So who's using 2 12-packs of toilet paper in 14 days?
I don't know. I think they have other issues.
If you need that, take a shower.
Either way, all right, that's enough of that. Like, so we're not trying to continue to spread it. Just talk about it, address it, poke fun at it. Look forward to being on the other side of it. Hopefully sooner rather than later, as we continue to take precautionary and appropriate measures, good positive vibes out to all those affected by it. Looking forward to getting past this. But I want to say, I think our generation, like as we move into what is continuing to entertain us, that's giving us something to talk about, right? I think we've survived more the world almost ended events than any other generation. And we had some previous generations that saw World War One, World War Two, Vietnam,
So
the Cuban Missile Crisis, all those things.
Between World War One and World War Two was like what, 20 years? It was like the end of, was it 17 to, it started in 39? When did World War One end? It was in the teens. I know it was in the teens. It ended in the teens.
Yeah.
And then World War II started in the 39 and went to 45.
Yeah.
So there was a good 20-year span before that happened. I mean, in my lifetime, there was Y2K, 9/11. There was the 12/12 or the 12/21/12.
Oh, the Mayan calendar.
Mayan calendar. Yeah.
And then, don't forget, we survived swine flu.
Yep.
Bird flu. SARS. What was the other one? This one now. We'll have gone through it.
Don't get your hopes up, apparently.
I mean,
they're becoming more frequent, and then so far what I've seen, they're happening every presidency. So
every 4 years. No, like you can that people have tried it out back through almost, I think, close to 100 years, basically, that every election year comes something that's going to end the world and kill us. Sometimes it repeats itself because it's been SARS a couple times, actually. It was before we were born, basically.
Oh yeah, you got to make sure you cycle through all the people that haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, it was nuclear winter was one at one point. That was a big scare for the longest time. We're all going to die. The H-bomb was a thing. If they detonate one in the atmosphere, it's going to kill us, the entire planet. We've survived asteroids coming through our solar system that could, if they had collided with Earth, would have ended all life as we know it. And they say it came closer than ever before. I think it was 100 times the distance between us and the moon or something like that. That was where it passed by. So not really close at all, but pretty cool, but close by, I guess, by galaxy standards.
I have two things of irony just going in my head right now. Is that if an asteroid was announced that it was going to come to the Earth and kill us in, say, 10 days, you would still have people going out there looting things for stuff they can only use for the next 10 days? What would be the point? It would happen. People go out stealing TVs and electronics, all that stuff's going to be working in 10 days.
On the off chance that we survive, I can pawn that stuff.
The off chance, okay, yeah. Sorry, the NASA guy is a little dyslexic, mixed up a couple numbers. We're good. And the second form of irony that I was thinking of is the first time that we were actually recording together is the one time where we're told to stay 6 feet apart. We were doing this across the country in the house by ourselves. Well, me by myself, you with the wife upstairs because she doesn't listen. And now we're doing it for the first time during a whole, stay away from each other scare, and we're sitting 2 feet apart. No, I just thought I want to point that out because I thought it was funny.
So moving on to the NFL. While NFL season is not here, and everybody's hoping that all this clears up before the NFL season gets here, but giving us something to talk about, right? We saw that little flash earlier. Tom Brady. We have some movement. Well, not only with Tom Brady, but we have movement within the NFL as far as trades and new contracts being signed. But I think one of the big ones that I actually thanks, Frank. Franklin is in agreement. He is just beyond excited that that Tom Brady is leaving the Patriots. I can't remember a season where Tom Brady really wasn't. I mean, I can when I was little, right?
Right.
Where Tom Brady wasn't the quarterback of the Patriots, right?
I can't remember a time, honestly, but I didn't start getting into football until the 2000s when he was already in there.
But I think this is Brady's last stop. One step closer to Boca. For those of you who are maybe don't get this one, Boca Raton in Florida, big retirement community, especially those from New England and the Northeast.
I think this just opens the door for him to break even, to extend some of his records, the most number of people he's thrown a touchdown pass to. As soon as he throws one, he's automatically increasing that number.
That's very true. Although the Patriots on a regular basis did change out their receiving core quite a bit, actually.
But I mean, this opens up an entirely new roster.
Yeah, and
he's throwing to his defensive end. What? That doesn't make any sense.
And he's moving over to the NFC, so new territory. He spent his entire career in the AFC. Oh. So moving from AFC to NFC means he's going to see different teams, different schemes, different looks on a more frequent basis, right? So, well, I think that's an interesting, setup for him.
So can an old dog learn new tricks?
I mean, a lot of the experts say that it's a good scheme for him. There's good talent there because you have Chris Godwin. Yep. Boy, am I drawing a blank on the other guy? Mike
Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans is there as well. Decent, decent receiving back out of receiving back in their split back set there. So some options to throw to running back, some top receivers. Decent tight ends as well. Like he has some stuff. I think, but one thing about Brady though, he's not mobile, so they 100% have to keep him, protected.
In the pocket.
And that honestly, but okay, so let's put it out there. We are way outside of the NFL season, but does this move make Tampa a Super Bowl contender?
Just from a quarterback? I mean, how bad was it? It was Wilson, right? Wilson was the quarterback?
No, it was Winston. Jameis Winston.
Winston. I know it was a W. I want to know what happened.
Samsonite.
I was way off. Yeah. But, I mean, he wasn't a bad quarterback in his own right. I mean, obviously Brady's better, but I don't think a quarterback makes a team.
Well, let's put it this way. He threw Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns this last season. Can you guess how many interceptions he threw this last season?
So you don't tell me it was 30.
Yes, it was.
Oh
he was a perfect 500. So in this particular case, we should see a significant improvement if Tom Brady limits his interceptions, right?
Yes.
Just by that alone. If he could throw for 30 touchdowns and half the amount of interceptions, that would be a significant change, right?
If he does get the Super Bowl, say he goes there and next year Tampa Bay gets the Super Bowl win, can you just take all the rings away from the Patriots? At that point, where is it? Patriots wins. There are Brady wins.
Pretty much. All right. So as of right now, they've agreed to terms in principle, meaning not pen to paper, but should be worth roughly $30 million per year for however many, which I would foreseeably think that means multi-year contract. The way that's worded, I view that as they're talking multi-year contract, $30 million a year, 3+ years. I mean, I'm thinking 3 years. I don't think they're going to pay for, Brady. He is older. He's getting towards retirement. He's not necessarily as durable. So if he does get hit, you potentially could lose him, right?
Do you think he's going to go for the oldest quarterback?
Nah, I don't think he cares for that record.
No.
But I'm thinking 3. I'm thinking he's going to do a 3-year deal and retire, right? Because 3 years gives him a good look.
Retirement plan, he's got it.
What do you say? But it gives him a good look at whether or not they could be a Super Bowl contender. Give him one season for, to work out the kinks, knock the rust off, work in the system, get the rapport, right?
Yeah, I got
so not expecting it first out the gate. Next season, get some tweaks, get some better stuff, like maybe have a shot, right? But you figure by the 3rd season, that's when he's probably expecting to pull his last Super Bowl ring. He gets an extra bonus for that, guaranteed, right? He'll have some sort of bonus structure around it.
Oh, absolutely.
And boom, Boca, here we come. I'm sure Giselle just can't wait.
We never hear from Brady again. He just fell off the face of the earth. He's just gone to retirement.
No, I'm sure Giselle already has it drawn up for Tom Brady's lingerie line for men.
Oh God. No. I'm thinking of what his diet or regiment plans. No guy is going with the drink a glass of water or 2 glasses of water per beer is what it was. I think wasn't that what Gronkowski said? He tried doing the Brady diet, and that's what it was. It was like 2 glasses of water per beer. And Garland was like, "Nope, not doing this. This is ridiculous."
Oh man! All right. So in trade news, highway robbery.
I mean, there was more to it than this, and I honestly think Arizona definitely got the best of the deal.
100%. And I am so glad that to be a Cardinal season ticket holder at this point. Finally, something to look forward to, because I was still looking forward to the season. I like going, right?
Me too. Now that I'm back in town,
but looking at just the offense being mediocre again, the defense not, which tires out the defense, and just really not producing. Figure 8-8 season if they really didn't make any moves, and now they're making some off-season moves. But I think this is just I think this is highway robbery, like it says on the slide there. Madden 20 would not allow this trade to go through. It actually rejects it.
Like, you tested this, or it was
it was in an article. I didn't actually do it myself.
Someone else did try to do this.
Yes, I mean, including the round. I mean, it's not a straight up. It's not a straight up trade because they did some draft picks and some other stuff.
Yeah, like they did a draft pick for like 2 years from now.
But I look at. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think like the Texans can benefit from David Johnson if he performs, right?
Oh yeah.
The problem is that after he came back from his injury, he got his contract. He wasn't performing, and Kenyon Drake, coming from Miami, right, to fill in for the injuries, was able to plug into the same scheme and produce more, right, with not having the extensive, time with the Cardinals. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I think that I think it's a one-sided trade, but I don't know what the running back situation looks like now in Texas, because they were doing a split back set, right?
Well, because last year Miller was out for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then had Duke Johnson in there.
And Cardinals, when they weren't using Johnson, who they have? They had someone good. I can't remember his name. Like he did pick up the slack.
But he's a smaller back. He's not an every down back. He's a change of pace back. He did what he could. He did well.
Yeah.
But when they brought in Kenyon Drake is when things really took off for the run game, right? But interesting to see how this plays out. Definitely interested to see how Kyler Murray does with a true deep threat now, and how that changes how the teams are going to play Arizona. Because now, you have a solid run game, right? You have a mobile quarterback, multiple receiving options, right? And a deep threat. That sounds pretty solid. It sounds like it could be exciting. This is gonna get me off the couch to pay the deposit on season tickets.
Oh, always good news.
All right. So moving on to some other movement, not necessarily trades, but free agency. In some free agency outside of Tom Brady, there's Tom Brady. We have some big moves, right? Witten, maybe not so much. Only up there because I'm a Cowboys fan and I put this together.
Because he hasn't done much in the last couple of years, has he?
He's still solid. I believe he still makes top 20 at a bare minimum. I haven't looked at his numbers. He still makes top 20 of tight ends.
Tight ends, top 20 out of 32 teams.
So, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he's viable in the top 20.
I don't know. Viable. I don't know about viable when he does one touchdown every 5 games.
Take that. So it's not just one tight end per team, though, because most teams actually run multiple tight ends.
Yes, I was exaggerating for my effect.
So, yes. But either way.
Thanks for catching on.
But a long time Cowboy, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, right? Has multiple records, not only in the league, but franchise as well. But has been a long time facet of the Cowboys, right? Moving to the Las Vegas Raiders. Interesting move. I mean, I think he's there for his leadership. I don't think he's necessarily there as a producer.
I could see that. He definitely has the experience to pull together a team.
So that's where I think that is. And then what I think is actually probably big news is Carolina moving away from Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, I think I'd read earlier it was like some kind of tweet or post that just said Cam Newton did not ask to be put on the trading block, but I mean he did spend all of last year going, but my foot hurts. I don't know the full story. I'm obviously just making a joke at it, but
An
still,
interesting move, though, going from Cam Newton to Teddy Bridgewater, right? Teddy Bridgewater, arguably a very similar quarterback, but definitely has not had the same amount of success that Cam Newton has.
well, Bridgewater's also been through at least 2 teams that I know of now.
We started with the Vikings, right? And granted, the Vikings weren't necessarily the greatest team at that time, didn't necessarily have a whole lot of talent. I think they still had Adrian Peterson, but I think that was about it. They had Adrian Peterson. They probably had I think they still had Kyle Rudolph, who's still there, but not necessarily a huge like receiving threat or anything like that. And they were all about the run. So, and then he got injured and had some stuff. And then he's moved around, right? He did show like when Drew Brees was out and he was producing.
Yeah,
right?
he had a lot of talent when he was going for the Saints there. So I know if he goes somewhere where he can be the main guy again, I think he could put up some good numbers if he's in sync with his team.
I think that'll be interesting to see. I think that's interesting from a fantasy perspective because I know I picked him up in some leagues. I don't think I picked him up in ours, but I definitely picked him up in some leagues as like a bye week, like
replacement. Yeah.
While he was going, and I got numbers out of him. So definitely looking forward to seeing that, and especially if Carolina's on the Cardinal schedule again this year at home, then get to see Bridgewater live and see what he does. Should definitely be interesting. Any other note? I think that's it as far as notable like kind of trades and free agency movement. Oh, other than Phillip Rivers, I almost forgot about Phillip Rivers.
I didn't see the Phillip Rivers one.
He's going to the Colts.
Really?
Yeah, he's exploring free agents, going to the Colts. I'm thinking like I not that I've seen it. This is pure speculation, right? I don't think Brissett's knee is necessarily 100%, or where they would like it to be, right? To where they don't feel he will necessarily be.
They just have a lot of
bad
luck with
quarterbacks.
Why would you want to go there if you were Breeze? Not Breeze, sorry, Rivers.
I mean, I think he needs to escape the Chargers, and I really feel that way. Like he spent years with the Chargers. Actually, has really great stats. If you look at his overall, like his individual stats, has really good stats, and which puts him up there at like in the elite status. If you look at him as like on a stats only on a pure numbers basis, right? But never, really had no Super Bowls, no real playoff runs to be heard of. I think he just, I think it was a good fit for him. I think it was comfortable. But I think I think he probably may have moved on too late, but we'll see. Like, I think he's still probably, he's durable. He doesn't have a whole lot of injuries. So, like, he may still have plenty of years in him. But hopefully the Colts will protect him. They didn't with Luck or Brissett.
Yeah, so we're going to find out.
And I'm thinking whenever they'll probably let Brissett heal up and go back to maybe go back to him once Breeze, or not Breeze. Now you got me saying Breeze. Phillip Rivers, a Breezy River.
That'd be an interesting conversation. Well, Rivers, thanks for getting us all the way to the playoffs. 300% finishes off. You okay with that, right? Yeah, bench, please. Thank you.
Didn't Brock Osweiler do that? You got the Colt or not the Colts, but the Broncos through the like into the playoffs, and then they brought in Peyton to win the Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah.
But the little different in that conversation. So I think those are the most notable at this point as far as that goes. We'll talk one last thing. Since NFL season isn't here, everybody else is canceled for the foreseeable future. Alternate sports betting. Yes, I'm talking about Las Vegas Dave.
Las Vegas Dave. You're going to have to explain this one to me. So,
well, Las Vegas Dave, famous sports bettor, made money on sports and selling sports betting packages and things like that. Well, considering all sports are paused, has been exploring alternate options. He's gone as far as to put out packages on games like cricket, checkers. Had some special going. I saw on his Instagram had a special going on an Uno tournament that he had a line on.
Wow, that's yeah. Who? I wouldn't even know how you find people that want to bet with you on these kinds of things. Who bets on checkers?
I mean,
Chess maybe, but checkers?
addiction is a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's just funny to me. Like, but I guess, you know what, if you can get people to buy it, if you can sell it, then by all means. Like, I half want. I mean, apparently he's winning though. Like, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot of competition, and maybe I think most of those like are pretty straightforward kind of things, right? Like, I mean, I've never watched cricket before. I know there's a bat and a ball, and you kind of run around some bases to a certain extent. But
actually, I got a decent in-depth conversation about it. Someone explained it, so I have a better understanding of it. But yeah, it's a long game. It's a long game.
So I mean, because he's saying that I saw him be like his cricket package hit 3-0, 3 for 3, right? And some other stuff, right? I saw somebody, and I think this is great, and I think we should probably put it out and maybe see if we can get people to bet on it with some cryptocurrency, but marble races. So they basically set up like a track, like they would be for like motocross or whatever,
right.
Different color marbles, and they have their different starting positions. You let it go down a ramp, and then let the marbles just go, and the camera follows it through. It's surprisingly entertaining.
Where's the domino races? I want to see that one.
Domino races?
Yeah, you just have people line up dominoes, and which one's going to finish first? Technically, they should finish at the same time, but who knows?
But something like that. I think we will have to produce some videos where we actually record like something to get people to like get it out there, right?
Yeah. No, God. I want to see like the big money check that he gets from winning at checkers, or winning the checkers betting. It just, I don't know.
I mean, you know what? If it's, let's say it's plus 100. Let's say it's even money. He puts 10 grand down and wins it. I mean, if you do it big enough money, right? Like you can make it.
Yeah. I'm not going that
route. I haven't looked at the online poker though, like because online poker is illegal. But I'm sure online poker is probably fire right now, even though it's not necessarily sanctioned in the United States. But I'm sure worldwide, I'm sure the rooms are just blowing up because, I mean, professionals, they have to go somewhere, right? Like they can't. I mean, if they can't go to the casino and play, you can't. I mean, just like similar to the closures, right, of bars and restaurants. Like you got to continue to make money. They're not going to go out and get a delivery job, and when they're used to making $1,000 in a weekend to making $300 in 2 weeks delivering.
When people are quarantined and bored, they only end up doing a few couple things. Well, one of those leading to what I've been reading to be called the Corona boom.
Yes, and then when they reach the teen years, they will be known as the quarantines.
Nice.
Yes, we foreseeably should see a boom in reproduction,
which is just weird to think that the only reason why there isn't a boom is because people aren't bored enough to sleep with each other.
I think it's more or less like you're too tired from doing your job or being at work all day that you don't necessarily.
I prefer to think of it the other way. It's kind of funnier.
All right. I think you got anything else to add?
No, I think I've covered all my one-liners.
All right. So until next week, stay safe. Wash your hands, you filthy, filthy animals. Like us on YouTube. Smash the like button. Smash it like you've never smashed before. It's not like you're doing it. You have anything better to do. Subscribe. We'll be putting out some quarantine content. Oh, I like it. Follow us on Facebook. Email us at the Bald and Beardiful if there's any quarantine content you would like us to produce or talk about. I think we got to get a guest on next time. What do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But now that we need another chair, but yes, the thing we can do it.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. Until next time.
Happy St. Patty's Day. Have a green Corona on me.